How's it going, guys? I'm not going to take too much of your time in the intro because this is the biggest NASCAR 21 video that we have so far, as you can tell by the title of the video. Patreon supporters, thank you for supporting the channel. If you would like to go and support the channel, links in the description down below, along with Twitter, Instagram, everything else. And over half of you that watch this video most likely are not subscribed. I have the data that gives me that proof. So please, 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 if you're watching this, subscribe. All right, that was really quick. Let's get into it. So this might be a little bit long because there is a lot of information we have to go through. We're gonna do it together. I'm gonna skim through it a little bit, but basically we have pretty much confirmation of NASCAR 21's release date, and we have confirmation of the engine the game's running, and some other things that are either speculative or some other very interesting factors about this game. Pretty much this is the most information you're going to get before they announce anything. So this is it. Like, this is literally the most information we will get before they announce any sort of trailer or anything like that. So let's get to it. Okay, so I will be here on the top right. This is a Motorsport Games Incorporated Q1 2021 earnings call transcript. So this is Q1 for Motorsport Games. This was a call among shareholders and board members and everything else, including the CEOs, the presidents of Motorsport Games, and there is this is basically a rundown of like the summary of Q1 and what is coming up in the future. Now, this just became public information. I was sent to this by one of my followers on Twitter. I think, is it Pat? Pat, big shout out to you. Let me actually make sure I want to get that right. Yeah, Pat, big shout out to you because you found this on some, I don't know how you found this, but you found this, sent it over to me, and then I went to go confirm some things, make sure I'm allowed to say some things, and here we are. So let's get to it. And this is all public information, so we'll see how it goes. So a lot of this I'm going to skim through. If you want, while I'm talking, you kind of read over it yourself, but this is a lot of, just the kind of common yada yada yada. First thing I want to point out is right here. I'm proud of and this is from Dmitry Kozko, which is the executive chairman and the CEO of Motorsport Games. I'm proud of our team and the progress we're making toward the launch of NASCAR Next and building Motorsport Games. Now, I do want to point this out. There's a reason why I don't have NASCAR Next in the title of the video. That is because I've been told that is not the name of the game. That's not the official name of the game. That could be a code name, a placeholder name, but officially, that is not the name of the game. So I'm still calling it NASCAR 21, and I'll be completely honest, I'm not a fan of NASCAR Next. I don't want NASCAR Heat. I don't want NASCAR Next. If it was me and I was talking to them, I just want NASCAR 21, to be honest. If we want to be taken seriously, just keep it simple. Don't kind of, try to come up with a crazy little title. Keep it simple. And so I don't want to be doing that whole NASCAR Next thing. And like I said, I've been told that that's not the official name of the game, so don't go out there and say that that's the official name of the game, because it's not. So this is very important. We're truly world-class, and we're operating 24/7 across continents with more than 122 team members at the close of the quarter, expanding our development resources by nearly 30% and growing fast from where we were just months ago. The reason why I point that out is because if you remember when 704 Games was making NASCAR Heat and you had Monster Games who was developing, it was a very small team. We're talking probably 20 people, 20, 30 people. 122 team members now in Motorsport Games, 30% and growing faster from where they were just a few months ago. So we're talking about December of 2020. The team is growing, it's getting bigger, and this proves my point as to why I keep telling you guys Motorsport Games is coming to take over, and you should be very happy that they have the NASCAR license, because they're hiring a lot of different talent from a lot of different industries and a lot of different gaming companies. Codemasters, they have R Factor 2 now, a lot of veterans coming on board, and they're all working on these games. And they're worldwide. So they're United States, the UK, Russia, Australia, and now the Netherlands. The combination of Studio 397 and R Factor 2, Kartcraft, and anticipated acquisition of Digital Tales is highly synergistic. And so this is, how they're talking about just they're basically acquiring the assets, acquiring studios to make sure they can make the best motorsport games possible. That's the whole point. They're called Motorsport Games. It's not just NASCAR. They want to make the best racing games. They want to be a powerhouse in that area. This is particularly the case with NASCAR Next. Again, that's not the title of the game. It's just probably a placeholder name, where we anticipate the game to be released in the back half of the third quarter this year, which we feel is the ideal time to launch this exciting new game. The quality of this game is said to be incredibly high and realistic, and the realistic experience it provides is what our fans have been asking for and what they expect from a world-class gaming company. We continue to strive toward our goal of achieving the AAA status where this game franchise truly belongs. This is no longer an indie game. This is serious business. Now, will NASCAR 21 be absolutely fantastic? I would say probably not. It's the first game of many games, but you could tell the team's growing. You could tell the vision's there. And you could tell we're going for realistic sim and we're going for AAA quality. We're going for the real big time stuff now. I'm so excited. And so you guys, this is confirmation. This is from the CEO himself. I'm not saying this nonsense. All right. It's not like I'm saying it and it's all a bunch of he say, she say. It's not. This is from the CEO. Trust me, it's going to be good. We'll get to that back half later in the video because there's more about that in the third quarter. We'll get to that a little bit later. The game brings high quality realistic graphics to consume the player in the real world racing experience while showcasing the unique and fun characteristics of NASCAR. This is possible due to our recent strategic initiatives, and let me update you on those. Since completing the acquisition of Studio 397 and acquiring their hyper-realistic technology platform, rFactor 2, which I have just played, and it is fantastic, we have been able to accelerate the integration of this technology into the new NASCAR game. So remember, they've been working with Studio 397, but now that they have rFactor 2 under their umbrella, that does speed up the process of how much you're going to see those physics and that tire model into the NASCAR games. I don't think it will be fully integrated in NASCAR 21, but let's say NASCAR 22, it should definitely be fully integrated. But you will start to see little bits and pieces, and you'll see the formation coming along of that realistic driving feeling and that realistic the realistic physics. That all comes from Studio 397 and rFactor 2. Furthermore, we will now integrate the technologies with the complete understanding and security that it will in the future integrate at the source code level as part of that MSGM engine. The Motorsports Games, I think, and I don't know what the GM stands for, but the MSGM engine, further improving our development efficiency across our racing game portfolio. That is the confirmation of a custom game engine. So Motorsport Games are making their own game engine. And that's a little bit surprising to me. I thought they were using Unreal. They could still be using Unreal and then adding their own source codes in there, which then makes it a custom engine that is based off Unreal. But that's your confirmation, and I have confirmation that that's true. So this is that. There you go. It's going to be a custom engine. I don't know how custom. I don't know what it's based on. It might not be based on Unreal at all. But basically, they're integrating that tire model, those physics, all of that into their custom engine, which will not just carry on NASCAR, but it will carry on the BTCC game that they were going to be making, and it will carry on other games that they make as well. All of their games will be running on one game engine that is primarily made for racing. And why you should be very excited for that is because think about EA Sports. EA Sports uses the Frostbite engine. Now, the Frostbite engine is not a sports game engine, but they make FIFA and they make Madden and they make all these games on Frostbite. Frostbite was actually made for Battlefield. It was made for the third person or first person shooter, right? That's what that was made for. So when you take FIFA and you take Madden, you see all these bugs on Frostbite. It's because Frostbite was never made for a sports game. EA just kind of took Frostbite and then, they put FIFA and Madden on there and they kind of work around it. Motorsport Games is making their own engine that is specifically tailored to racing games. So you're going to optimize and have the most efficient possible experience with that game. That's why, as I keep saying, I'm super, super excited. Be excited. Let's keep going. This is going to be a lot of reading, so stay with me, all right, guys? This efficiency was not possible for the acquisition. Motorsport Games and Studio 397 had a working relationship for the past 2 years, and this great relationship enabled us to seamlessly integrate talented developers, technology, and gaming expertise. We also completed the acquisition of KartCraft and Motorsport Games Australia during Q1. Again, they're just kind of getting everything in there. However, we're always exploring new opportunities to maximize our shareholder value and capital, but at this time, our core focus is finalizing NASCAR Next and getting it into the hands of our eager fans. And now on an update on our esports business, it is yada yada yada. Okay, yeah, that's esports, yada yada yada. No offense to guys who love esports. Esports is great. I have full confidence in motorsport games that they will do great in esports, but that will be just fine. So that's all for the. Oh, here we go. All are expected to raise awareness for the launch of NASCAR Next. Of course, we're starting to build audiences for product launches of other series this coming later. Lastly, we're launching the Traxion platform to foster growth and allow our growing fan base to engage more deeply online and across our platforms. Traxion plays a key role in our esports business as events and will be featured and integrated with the user bases there. Now we have Stephen Hood. Stephen Hood is the president of Motorsport Games, and he has talked about. So we are pleased to announce the great development strides as we are making this quarter, especially for our new flagship franchise game, NASCAR Next. Our major reworking of the NASCAR franchise is in the closing stages of development as NASCAR Next enters beta stages. So this is where the game starts to get tested. The game will enter a final significant development period prior to product hardening and submission to platform holders for testing and certification. Due to our recent acquisition of Studio 397, NASCAR will include their leading racing simulation technology. Our Factor 2 brings real-life physics, and we've talked about this mainly. We are working around the clock and anticipate the launch of our new NASCAR franchise in the back half of the third quarter this year, but we are not stopping there. We are bringing NASCAR to the Nintendo Switch platform, which remains on track for a release later this year, a platform not yet reached by Motorsport Games, and will add useful exposure and revenues to our NASCAR franchise and pave the way for possible future franchise entries into the Nintendo market, which I am a massive fan of. I talked about the Nintendo Switch entry earlier. That will not be coming at the same time as NASCAR 21. That will be coming later. So back half, and again, I'll get to that a little bit later. They explain it more in the article. So we'll get into that a little bit later. Then they talk about the mobile games a little bit. I'm going to skip over that for now because I don't use the mobile games, but they're working on that as well. This paragraph right here explains how all the games will be integrated in a way. So the British Touring Car Series game, remember that one? That's coming in 2022. Well, all British Touring Car environments have now been laser scanned ahead of track content creation. I don't know if the NASCAR games, or for the NASCAR game, I've not heard of anything about the tracks being laser scanned. So I don't know about that. But if they're laser scanning the British Touring Car game, then I would assume the NASCAR game has laser scan tracks as well. I don't know. I'm not entirely sure about that, but we'll see. So laser scan data allows for highly accurate recreation of surfaces and environmental detail, which when combined with the MSGM physics engine, which is again the custom engine that they're using, our Factor 2 provides the highest level of feedback for players. British Touring Car, which will utilize the upcoming NASCAR Next game platform. So again, like I said, they're all this engine is made all for motorsport games, which I love because they will be able to kind of work together and get feedback off each other, and it's going to be really, really good. So that's very important to point out. Speaking of where some of these guys who are working from the game come from, additional hires from world-class studios such as EA and Playground Games continue the phase, and so they're hiring people from all over the place. I know people that have been hired from Codemasters that now work in Motorsport Games. They're going to EA, Playground Games, they're going everywhere. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And then John, the chief financial officer, the CFO, talks about basically the revenues and everything about the games releasing at certain parts of the year. And so, again, with the anticipated release of NASCAR Next in the back half of the third quarter, we're all, that's all the money aspects of things. We don't really need to know a lot about that. That's all the business stuff. So we'll keep going on. And so then we had questions and answers, okay? So a question from one of the operators. At this time, we'll be conducting, yada, yada, yada. Thank you for updates. I just want to start with one question on NASCAR Next launch. We've always expected it to come in Q3, so your comments are consistent with that. Just wondering if you can give us a little color on why the second half of the quarter makes the most sense for that launch. And this is why I was talking about, I'll get into the release date later on in the video. And also, along with that, just wondering if maybe you can give some analysis on the level of DLC that you expect this first launch that would be there. And the CEO, Dimitri, talked about how the reason is, historically with NASCAR Heat 2, 3, and 4, which all released in, I would say, September 13th, somewhere around there. It was like Friday of that September, second week of September, every single time. We have seen great results from launching these annual NASCAR games in the month of September. So for NASCAR Next, we are on target to launch the second half of Q3 as we continue to look at data points that will help us make this eventually the most successful NASCAR title yet in our company history. So that is confirmation right there. And I have confirmation as well that yes, this game is aimed at September. So that is when the game's coming out. It won't be August. It won't be July. It's going to be looking at September. Now, the only reason why I'm saying it's not 100% official yet is because remember, when this game was in development, COVID was still going crazy. Now, we're getting to the end of COVID. I feel like, the vaccinations are rolling, everything's starting to go a little bit back to normal. But while this game was being developed for a while, we had to deal with the virus. So that's a little bit crazy. And so it could maybe be delayed, but for everything right now, September is the release date. You can book that, mark it down, for it. Now, the DLC, Stephen Hood talks about the DLC a little bit. I can say that the DLC is nothing's official. So everything you read here is just for speculation purposes. DLC will be official after the release of the game and see what the feedback is on the game and what could be put on there. But certainly the plan is to inject probably the easiest way to describe it is a greater variety of DLC content into NASCAR Next. So one of the things that the DLC would only do in NASCAR Heat was just paint schemes pretty much. Again, I'm okay with paint schemes, but I wanted more. So one of the key reasons for wanting to rebuild the technology platform and to do the work that we've been putting into NASCAR over the last couple of years is to prepare the platform for new DLC in the future. Instead of just paint schemes that have been injected into a product that we already know is incredibly popular for our audience, there are additional content opportunities around schemes and themes for user interface, personalizing the product, and more possibly adding additional cars into the package into the future. So these kinds of drivable components are of even more value that we have seen in the NASCAR Heat franchise prior. So I certainly believe that the door is open for a greater variety and will get a lot stronger than that over time, is one of the key reasons for changing the framework in NASCAR Next. We own all of this technology, we know how it operates, and we can react to the market and the interests and demands of players and inject different types of DLC into the game and the games of the future. What that means is, do you guys know battle passes, season passes, different forms of DLC? That could be player online banners, that could be the customization of the UI interface. So your main menu screen, basically, you can customize it based off your favorite driver, you can customize it based off a series, you can customize it in every certain different way. That could be DLC. You'll obviously have most likely the challenges that could be DLC. The paint schemes will still be DLC. And then one exciting factor, I don't know any of this, this is just speculation on my part, the variety of, let's say, like different types of cars, past cars, previous cars, Gen 4, car of tomorrow, legend cars, legend drivers. That is also a lot more intriguing. You might have the older cars, but you might not have the legend drivers, because you know how the licensing works in NASCAR games. It gets really confusing when you try to add legend drivers into a NASCAR game. They've done it before. They have Jeff Gordon, they have Tony Stewart, guys like that. But can you add like Darrell Waltrip? Can you add a Cale Yarborough? Can you add a Dale Earnhardt? That's where it gets a little bit difficult and it gets a little bit challenging. But you could have, like the F1 games have, they have old classic cars. You can drive a classic car in the new NASCAR game. That would be a type of DLC that could be looked at and something that I'd be very interested in. And so again, none of this is confirmed, but this is all speculation. Hopefully that is where they go. This question from Mike talks about the number of people at the company now and how it's continuously beginning to grow. So Dimitri talked about this. So we are, as of March 31st, 122. The majority of that, to be more specific, 84 is of the development resource. And that is 30% above what it used to be last quarter. So again, they're acquiring that high level talent very quickly. The team is continuing to grow, and so the more people that get on, the bigger the game could get, and we could reach that AAA quality. I can't keep saying this is not an indie game anymore. We're getting to the big business, and that is pretty much the main gist of this article. Everything there are some other areas where it talks about the other games. I'm not talking about that right now because it's not the NASCAR games, but they talk about Le Mans and the BTCC. Those two games will be alongside NASCAR as their main revenue generators for, again, console and PC. So the games, all three of those will be coming to console and PC. I will be on PC most likely, and the only thing I haven't seen here, they haven't talked about crossplay. I'm really hoping that's a feature. I'm praying that's a feature, because if crossplay is enabled, I do not have to worry about, as for myself as a content creator, trying to get the PS5 hooked up and everything and to be able to race with you guys. I would love crossplay. So we'll see about that. That's later on. But yeah, the last thing that was said from the CEO of Dimitri was, thank you everyone for joining us today. We're very excited about the rest of the year and launching the most anticipated NASCAR game title yet in the history of our company, in addition to several other priorities we have across our IP, esports, and Traxion platform. So yeah, that is everything. It definitely is a lot of information to take in, but the main information you guys should know about it is the custom engine, the MSGM engine, and R Factor 2 is basically carrying over their technology and going into that engine. All games from Motorsport Games will be running on that engine. That engine is specifically created for racing games, so it should be a very perfect fit. The game is releasing in September. That is where it is planned, until we get official announcements to make sure there's no delays. Again, so many games in the gaming industry nowadays, because of the nature of the world as it is, have been delayed. So hopefully the game is able still to hit that 2021 September release date, and that is exactly where they are aiming for. The team is growing. The game is aiming as a AAA title. Okay, so this is not the NASCAR Heat indie game style. And 704 Games would openly say, we're kind of like indie developers right now. They ain't indie developers anymore. Motorsport Games has come in, and now they're aiming for AAA quality. So the last thing I'll leave you with, guys, is be excited. Be excited. This is official. This is coming. This is going to be big, and you should hear more about the game very soon. So that's all I'm going to say. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day. I cannot wait to get my hands on this. And just if Motorsport Games, if anyone's is watching, I'm still available for testing. If anyone wants to hit me up and you want, I'll sign the NDA. I will beta test the game for free. You do not have to pay me. I will beta test the game and help you fix out the bugs. So if anyone wants to contact me, you guys got my email. Let me know. I'm super excited. I cannot wait for September, and hopefully we'll see what this game is like in a little bit. Subscribe if you are new. Comment down below, guys. What do you think about all this information? How do you feel about it? Take care of yourselves. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you guys later. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram if you're not already. Take care of yourselves. Peace out.